Growing up, who was my football hero?
Growing up, I think my hero was my dad. He was my football coach in high school. He, from day one, I remember he'd say touchdown and I'd raise my hands as a baby, and he taught me the plays when I was 2 years old and stuff like that, and I'd run the route.
Well, I gotta say Reggie White. Like I said, I just grown up and just watching him and what he did in the NFL, and I was fortunate to come to Tennessee, the same place he played, and wear his number. And like I said, I'll be the last one to wear it because they retired it. So I mean, it was always an honor just watching him on TV. I got a chance to meet him before he passed, and I mean, it's just he's one of the greatest football players I ever played.
Butkus, probably. These guys played for very little money. They played for the love of game, and they played it the way it ought to be played. You know, full speed every down, and had to play hurt most of the time. You know, he kind of exemplifies what football is about.
Brett Favre, just love the way he plays. I mean, he does everything by, he wills his team to win. I mean, he's not the most talented guy. I mean, he's got a strong arm. He can throw a ball through a brick wall, but he's not the most talented guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's a guy who plays football the way it's meant to be played. Tough, hard-nosed, and never quits.
The guy that I admired the most probably was Griese growing up. I loved the way his approach to the game, and I was on the sidelines charting plays as he was coming off, and he'd take the chart and he'd write down things that he had picked up from the defense on verbal calls, what meant certain coverages. So he was my dad always called him the thinking man's quarterback, and he was a guy that I always looked up to and still do.
Johnny Unitas, quarterback. I remember the day they lost to Joe Namath. I remember the day going to school. I wouldn't talk to nobody. I was in the first grade. I was on the bus. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was so mad.
Joe Namath, because he was Broadway Joe. He was the man. You know, I was a quarterback growing up, and he was the best. And I mean, I had a picture of him in my wallet. I had a picture of him near my bed, near my pillow. When I laid my head down, I'd see Joe before I went to sleep, you know. He was my hero.